This week's show is brought to you by Venice Beach Beverage. Try their delicious line of ginger teas with 100% daily vitamins in every can. And make sure you try my favorite, Black Cherry. Visit them online at venicebeachbeverage.com.
Eat more pan. This week's episode is also brought to you in part by George Lopez's Chingon Bakery. Make sure to check them out on Instagram at Chingon Bakery and online at chingonbakery.com. They ship worldwide straight from Oxnard, California.
This episode is intended for mature audiences only. Listener discretion is advised. All right, kittens and cats, it's a new year, it's a new day, another day, or what is it? A lovely, lovely day, lovely day.
Oh, I was like, what song are you talking about right now?
I was trying to get it together, but
I think it's Bill Withers' Lovely Day.
So, we are recording from our apartment, the kitchen table. Joining us is our dog Jorge. Penelope is out there, as you know, the last two recordings episodes had mentioned. You know, she's still fucking up the couches, but it's okay. We are surviving every day, and it seems like it's only when we're recording that she decides that she wants to be a little shit.
I was just about to say, this whole time that I've been here, I haven't seen her on the couch, but as soon as you said that, she was like, I hear you, human. Mm-hmm. Let me just affirm what you just said.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, we've had a little bit of a break in between. We didn't have a pre-New Year's episode. We decided that it was best to take a little bit of a break, let everyone breathe a little and be on their vacations. We had a nice Christmas. Well, we kind of had a nice Christmas. Ricky, you want to share what happened?
What did you do for Christmas? We didn't even talk.
No, you were quarantined. I don't think we were allowed to even talk. We weren't even allowed to FaceTime. It was that contagious.
I wasn't about to FaceTime with anybody. I was like, ignore. But I very much got COVID. And I was in isolation for the last 10 days. I was in isolation for 10 days. So it carried me all throughout Christmas. And it was terrible.
Yeah, no, I bet it was awful. I ended up having my mom here for Christmas. She spent a little bit of time. My mom and my sister did. And then I was supposed to go see my dad, but I haven't seen him because they're sick at home and I didn't want to get sick. But funny enough, I ended up getting a cold, so we're all sick around here. Tis the season.
For real, because it's been cold and raining. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember the last time we got this much cold weather and rain consistently, because it was coming down like a lot, which I love. I do like this weather.
Yeah, no, I definitely appreciate the rain. I could care less about how cold. It really has been like cold. It's been a cold that I don't think we've seen in a while. At least not that it's been combined with the rain, and I think that's what makes it even worse.
And we're supposed to be getting rain for the rest of the week too.
Yeah. So anyway, Christmas was a little bit of a shit show, and we kind of missed it. We kind of didn't. We had to pivot. But now we're here in this new year, and we both we're catching up with our lives and like what we've been doing, because like you said, we haven't really been talking, and you were in isolation. So we discovered a couple things that we've been doing. Or that we've done, like we're hitting the new year right, I believe. So I wanted to share that. I recently got offered a position to become a financial planner, which if you guys know me, I'm all about those finances, and I'm all about being right with our fucking money and our community. It is important for us to educate one another about the importance of having a retirement, investments, shit like that, insurance, yeah, all of that fun stuff. But you, Ricky, also have something new, a new adventure.
In my isolation, I kept having these like meditative thoughts and, you know, just things in your head when things get in your head. I do love to write. I do consider I'm a self-proclaimed writer. So I'd been procrastinating on really kind of diving into my writing. And so there's a few resources where you can display and sell your your writing. So I'm quote unquote a freelance writer now. So I have like a little page on this website where you can go and look at all the things that I've written and that I've sampled, and you can buy the shit that I write. So
That's pretty awesome.
it is awesome. It's forcing me to get into the practice, into the rhythm of writing again. So
Look at you, little writer, you. I'm so proud of you. That's exciting. Because I think we've been talking about, your desires to want to write and doing that as professionally. So good. I'm really happy for you. I think that this is a good thing for the both of us. Like, we're really channeling our inner Jay-Z. You said some shit the other day that I was like, oh, my inner Jay-Z?
And I wouldn't have thought that that's what you were doing. Like,
Right.
I was surprised to hear that, I'm doing this now. Just like I think you were surprised that I had signed up for this.
Yeah, mine was definitely just by chance. When you're in, when you have to sign up for your unemployment every week and you have to tell them what you're applying for, I, by chance, came across this company and, they're promoting, like, financial advisor. And I was like, oh, well, let's just see. And then...
You think it's really by chance?
No, it's the universe.
It aligned.
And it really did. And it's what you're calling into your life. So this just kind of, quote unquote, fell into my lap. And I took it. And I was hesitating. And you'll even ask Mike, like, I was really almost going to say no.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I did interviews. I talked to the person. And I was like, yeah, this sounds really great. And then I was telling Mike, I don't know that I should do this. But I did, because I thought, if I'm hesitating and if I'm like that resistance means I should do it, because it's different and it's challenging.
You have to try different things. You have to get out there and try it. So even though you and I were disconnected and didn't talk a lot, we were very much on the same frequency of discovering new things about ourselves and getting into different endeavors that seasoned the life that we're already kind of building for ourselves.
Yeah, for sure. And in my, browsing the internet and looking for jobs, I came across this page. I don't know if you guys follow We All Grow Latina. Very cool page for resources and community, things like that. Well, they're hiring. And they were hiring for like a writer and also like a project manager. They had different positions. And there was one that stood out to me and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a position for Ricky. And I was ready to send it to her. And for whatever reason, I didn't. But I thought in my head, like, this is Ricky's job. She needs this one.
And I saw it. So even though you didn't send it to me and even though you didn't call me and be like, girl, you need to check this out, I very much saw that post and I saved it on my Instagram. The only reason why I wanted to like apply and take the job is because I wanted to, in my mind, I imagined that working for this organization is predominantly female Latinas. We all grow Latina.
Yeah.
I imagined the whole thing in my head. The office, the settings, and I'm just surrounded by
Female Latinas.
Resourceful, great, educated, passionate, female Latinas. And I imagined it all in my head and I was like, what would that even feel like?
Yeah, for sure.
That's the reason why I was like, I'm going to apply for this, because I can't imagine an environment like that. I literally cannot imagine an environment like that.
Right.
Like
where? Where does that even happen?
I've been used to, I worked in male-dominated industries.
Yeah, which many are.
Where I was always the only female at the table.
Yeah.
So the thought of working in an environment like that blew my mind. Yeah. And so that's why I was like, I think I just want to apply to this because I want to see what that feels like. Like, what is that like? So that's interesting.
Just to get a glimpse.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, let's just try this. Fuck it. And you know what? I probably still go back and apply just to, see what happens. You never know.
Yeah, go get an interview. See what those cubicles are like. What that office space is, So that's a little bit about what we're doing in our professional life. in getting ready for this episode, Ricky had the great idea to write letters to ourselves, to ring in the new year, to have a moment of reflection, and all these things, right? So we wrote our letter to ourselves.
Had you ever done that before?
Not in the way that I did. So the way that I usually go about the end of my year is that I'll give gratitude and I'll write it down for the things that I had accomplished, but it's very much like in list form, not in letter form. And then what I'll do after is that on a planner. So I'll do this for my planner, for my current planner. So if it's 2021, I'll do my gratitude on my 2021 planner. And then on my 2022 planner, which I still haven't bought, I'll put like my manifestations, things that I want to do for the year, things that I want to learn, stuff like that. So yes and no.
Okay, but then I ask this because you can go in my library of journals. Mm-hmm. Wait, do you say library or library?
Library.
So you just...
I don't say library. I don't pronounce the
Wow,
R's.
so you just like knock out that second R?
Library? Yeah.
Because it's Library, right?
Yeah, but...
Library.
You pronounce library? I really don't.
I don't even know. I just...
Anyway.
If you go to my house and you see my collection of planners and journals that I've had throughout my life, you can flip through the pages and you'll find random pages in there where I write to myself.
Okay.
And I'll say... And it'll happen where, like I could be in a meeting and be maybe having like a low-key panic attack, or I'm second-guessing myself about something, or I'm really uncomfortable about something, and I'm writing to myself. Okay. And so to kind of get myself out of that zone, I'll be like, Ricky, get your head out of your ass. It's going to be okay. Da-da-da-da. You are this, you are... And I literally write to myself. Like, okay. Yeah.
Oh, it's almost like a coping mechanism too. Or
I only recently kind of put that together.
Really?
Yeah. Because... And sometimes I would even do it... I would say, Dear God, where have you put me? And I'm asking because I'm like, why is this happening to me? Why? In any of my journals, you will see passages like that I've written to myself like that. Huh. And I think it's a very, I think for me, the act of writing to yourself is kind of acknowledging yourself. Yeah. It's kind of like removing your physical self from where you're at and kind of going inward to uncover that. 2 years ago, we did mushrooms. You, my brother, my mom, and I. And in that experience, I heard my voice for the first time, if that makes any sense, right? So as I'm hearing myself talk to myself, I start to write down everything that I'm telling myself. So that experience took my writing experience to myself to a whole other level. And it made me connect with my... like subconsciousness.
I see.
And so that's kind of like my little present to myself, like my little secret to myself that nobody else gets, that it's just between me, myself, and I, so to speak.
And I think it's an amazing practice of awareness that a lot of us don't do. I definitely don't do that enough. It's a form of it's journaling. You're journaling. You're putting your thoughts into paper. You're expressing yourself. You're letting it out. We're people that tend to bottle things up and they're not expressing it verbally to others. If you write it in paper, you'll feel good about it. And so I think it is definitely a good practice. Maybe that's something that I'm gonna practice doing more of this year, journaling.
So sometimes when I was looking for my notebook, or when I was looking for something to write my letter to myself in, I mean, I have anywhere from graph paper pads to, what are these called? Legal pads. I have all kinds of big sticky notes. Any kind of paper you could imagine. Yeah, stationery. I have it accessible to me. And I don't, and also it's not just like writing to myself, like a letter to myself. When I found the notebook that I wanted to write my letter in, I found this cutout that I just ripped out and I had put underneath that I wrote to myself on June 1st, 2021. And when I'm really stressed out, like when I've reached the point past writing a letter to myself, I start making lists. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so on and so forth. And I guide myself through everything. And it kind of just it documents the path that I need to take. It itemizes what I want to do for myself. Whether I do it or not do it.
About the stress or just your life in general?
Do you want me to read you this one?
Yeah.
This is the one that I found. So this is from Monday, June 1st, 2021. Okay. Number 1. And I can't tell you what I don't remember what was going on that day, but this is what I wrote. So number 1, good hustle, Rick. You didn't put so much on social media this morning. 2, make your list and don't forget to honor your body. 3, don't forget about that dress, the blue one with the floral print. I'll explain that right now. 4, figure out how this will all pan out. And actually, it's not all your responsibility. 5, daydreaming and I'm thinking of you. I love that song by Aretha Franklin. 6, identify things I would like to do. A, get my timing right. Stop feeling like everything's on fire. B, align myself spiritually. C, take myself out to dinner. D, write myself a letter of acknowledgement. E, what does it feel like to just be me, under no influence to please someone or something? And that was it. Oh, and then my last little point, I hear music in my head constantly. None of this necessarily makes any sense. It's literally the thoughts that were going through my head that were kind of making a sense of the mess that I was going through, maybe, so to speak. But I thought it was interesting that this happened, and this happened in the month that I resigned from autos, because I resigned 2 weeks after this day.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, no, I think it very much is grounding.
Yes.
And kind of puts things in, maybe not into perspective, but just
puts it out there.
It puts it out, it puts it on paper, and now you can walk away a new slate. You know, so that's very cool. Now we have the letters to ourselves. Do you want to share that first, or should I go first?
We'll go first because I just read it.
All right, so this is my letter to myself, and there was no rules or context or do it like this. We just wrote whatever we felt was gonna be right for ourselves. So
that's an important point.
So this is my piece, and Jorge wants to come on in here, and he wants to
listen to your letter.
And he wants to play. You wait, Jorge. So this is mine. Dear Natalie, I am so proud of you. You badass woman, you. 2021 has been really good to you. You may have whined, cried, and complained because things don't come easy, and why should they? You are privileged beyond measure. Obstacles are healthy and needed for growth. Although the pandemic has continued to rain on all of your plans to rage and have fun, you still managed to get out and make the best of it. You hiked Ladder Canyon in the city of Mecca, California. You signed up for your yoga teacher training. You started a podcast to talk about things that are important to you. You became the godmother to not 1, but 2 children. You created Primavera Color Limon and started a blog. You successfully grew a marijuana plant from seed to flower.
That's right.
And you quit a job that was unfulfilling. Natalie, you have really outdone yourself this year by unapologetically leaning into intuition, by doing what you want without asking for outside opinion. This is beautiful. I know that often you want the approval of those near and dear, but as you continue on your journey, remember that no one knows you like you know you, and your parents, your husband, and your siblings will want to guide you in a certain direction, almost as to protect you. Take it with a grain of salt and do what you want anyway. You are here to live by your own intuition and learn from its consequences when your intuition is wrong. Natalie, there is already so much to look forward to in 2022. You were just invited to join a book club with women you have never met, but that you are looking but that you are going to learn a lot from. And I know you've been looking to have deeper connections with women like you. You have decided to embark in a career as a financial advisor, which will challenge you in ways that you have been looking to, but will also help families with their financial future, as I know this is something you aspire to do. It's going to take time for you to get your rhythm, going, but you're going to do great. Now start studying. You have a lot of exam prep to do. Lastly, I'm out of breath. Sorry, guys, I'm getting over a cold.
I'm crying.
She's crying. Okay, excuse me. Lastly, something you've been really excited and really sleepy about these last 3 months is you're expecting your first child. You have been at such great peace with this and have gotten a lot of support from your family and friends. You're going to be an amazing parent. All that you have done up to the moment your child arrives will probably have nothing to do with raising a child. That's okay. You're not doing it alone. 2021, you were good to me. 2022, let's do this. Cheers.
I'm so inspired by that.
Oh my god. I'm crying. I was so excited when I wrote it. I was so happy. I was like, ooh, yeah.
This is nervous laughing right now.
You were nervous?
No, not nervous, but
Yeah, it's like that laugh when you don't know what to do.
You're like, what do I do with myself? That's such a I mean, you covered everything.
Yeah, I felt really good about it.
That was very that was thoroughly documented.
Yeah, well, I learned from the best. I learned from you. I'm going to make sure that I document all this bullshit because I know Ricky's going to say some shit. I want to make sure that I can at least be here.
No, that was outstanding, and
Thank you.
I think it was outstanding because I very much have felt like a passenger to your life, everything,
like seeing it through.
Right, everything that you've talked about. I've been there. Like, I've seen all of that growth, and I've seen all of that, that's good shit. You see how this is a good practice to do?
It is. And as I was doing it, at first I was like, I have nothing to fucking tell myself. And then I was like, I didn't do shit this year. And then I started thinking, I was like, damn, I did a lot.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so that's good.
But also, I think, and for me, this is definitely something that I've been challenged with. Mm-hmm. Yes, please. When I think of the last year feels like 3 years.
Yeah.
The last year, I've been having such a difficult time with comprehending time as it's passed. It's been like, I think something happened 3 months ago when in fact it happened a year ago.
Oh.
Or last week. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, it's just
Yeah, the concept of time has been really challenging.
Man, that was a beautiful letter.
Thank you. I'm so proud of it too.
I really love that. And I think you know what? I was having a conversation with a friend of mine last night, and I told her that one of my achievements this year has been feeling comfortable in moments of silence.
Oh, yeah.
Like, however your letter moved me, sometimes in your silence, you're saying more, if that makes any sense. Before, I used to be very uncomfortable if no one was saying anything, or, like, insert comment here. Like, okay. But now I appreciate that moment of silence, moment of reflection, I guess, right? Because I'm thinking about everything that you just wrote, and I'm like, dang. And you're just sitting with it, and just sitting with it in silence and reflection. You don't have to say shit, but yet I think you can still communicate. Like, if I didn't say anything, you would still feel the magnitude of my thoughtfulness in what you just wrote. That makes sense?
Yeah. I guess sometimes to add, right, everything doesn't need a reaction or a comment or a response. Everything doesn't require a response. And it is okay to just sit in silence because, well, it just means you're taking it in. I think at least for me, that's what it is. I don't say much in a lot of conversations, but I'm listening and I'm like, yeah.
Oh, you definitely. I remember at first that was something very difficult for me to get used to with you.
Yeah.
Like, I would dump all kinds of stuff out. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't say anything while I'm saying all of this stuff. You weren't giving immediate feedback. And I remember thinking, like, does she care about what I'm saying? Like, am I over speaking? Yeah. Or what's happening here? And then either moments later or even hours later or even the next day, you would come back with a complete analysis of what I shared with you and, which would dive into other aspects of that conversation. And it would lead to other things, which always amazed me. So, dang, girl, dang.
Woo! All right, so let's hear your letter.
Okay. I wrote mine on paper. I was debating on how I wanted to write it out, but I just bought myself these pens that I love from Staples. They're the Optiflow.
You have to have a good pen.
Oh my God, it's so good.
You have to have a good pen.
So I was like, I'm going to write this. Okay.
Tool pens.
Dearest Ricky, joke's on you, homegirl. Ha! What did you think? Did you think that turning 40, your life's trajectory would explode into this brilliant state of improvement and success that you felt was owed to you? You really believed this was your year. Mm-hmm. You had yourself convinced that all the wrong done to you was about to transform into everything you'd been trying to break through. I mean, hey, good looking out. You're always looking at the bright side of things. You're a hardcore positive thinker. One of my favorite things about you, Ricky, is your ability to find humor in all things and your enthusiasm to genuinely laugh at yourself, especially when you've had an epiphany that explains some of your foolishness. You are your greatest critic. You have no mercy on yourself, and you do not give yourself enough credit. You've also been surrounded by people this year that were reminding you more often than not about the outstanding achievements you've been a part of thus far. The real reason the joke's on you is because despite how this year has ended in a series of unfortunate events for you, and despite the major life choices you've made with your career and finances, and despite the sacrifices you continue to make that contribute to a greater purpose, despite the insecurities and overthinking that haunt you religiously, despite you questioning your ability to be the person you want to be, despite all of these details, you are in line with everything you are about to become. Ricky, it's only been a matter of weeks where you've finally been able to resign to peace. You've made a conscious effort to remove this enormous pressure that you've bestowed on yourself to procure immediate success and growth for you and everyone you work with. Ricky, you can actually take a deep breath now. You should be proud of the courage you have to uncover yourself. You finally want to get to know who you are without being under the influence of anyone or their expectations. It's been a lifetime for you wanting to please and be accepted by these people that you love. You disguised yourself to be the necessary perception that people wanted from you. You've been a human chameleon. But so now, Ricky, here we are. Here you are. You've slowed down your pace and you now desire yourself. Your life hasn't been a shit show, Ricky. It's been exactly what it's had to be for you to master and love yourself. Don't fuck this up. Love, Ricky.
And if you fuck it up, it's okay. You'll get another chance anyway. It's all good. I love that. That's beautiful. You know what? I think I probably have this somewhere in I hope I have it, and if I don't, I'll just say it anyway in my letter to you. I think that this year has been a big highlight of you wanting to uncover who you are, but then masking it with all of the things that are going to keep you busy and distracted so you don't do that. And a lot of us will do that. We're busy with, and we mentioned this earlier, with work, with working out, with alcohol, with drugs and addiction and whatever, so that we don't have to discover who we are. But I think when we uncover who we are, we realize that, we're pretty cool. We're beautiful people. I don't know what the fuck we're scared of. Like, some fucking demon's gonna come out. Just go to church. That's okay. Go get the fucking blessing yeah, exactly.
It's gonna be sizzling off of us.
Yeah.
I do want to encourage all of our listeners, send us your letters to yourselves. If you're up to sharing your letters to yourselves, because again, it is a good practice and it is something important for our own self-preservation. And I do encourage you to do this exercise. You don't have to send it. Keep it to yourself. But if you do decide to share it, send it to onthisfrequency@gmail.com.
Yeah.
It's a great thing to share with one another, to encourage one another, and know that we're all in it together in one way or another. So I just thought about that. I was like, we should get people's letters.
Yeah, and if you're down, if you don't mind, putting it out on the social medias, I want to put this up on our Instagram stories and on our posts. So when you guys write your letters, tag us in them. Let us know what you're proud of or what you wrote about, and we want to share it with everyone, because I think it's a positive thing to go around and share with the communities. Because if I needed it and I didn't know, then I'm sure the next person would want it too. So that was perfect.
I'm excited to receive these letters.
Yeah, make me all happy. So let's do our letters to each other. Yes. So I'll do my letter to you, and don't mind me when I pause because I'm short of breath.
I am too.
Like, okay. Ricky Lee. First of all, thank you for being a badass podcast co-host for On This Frequency. There is no one else that I could have a very honest conversation with on a podcast than you. Thank you for letting me ask you very raw questions about your personal life on and off recording sessions. Please know that I am always inspired by you and I'm never short of aha moments when I'm around you. We have very opposite opinions about life and people, but some things that I've learned from you are to give people the benefit of the doubt. You know how to see the good in people even when they're ugly, and have the patience to ride that wave with them. I have that in mind every day, because when people show me ugly, I take it for face value. You have the work ethic of a worker bee and will do whatever it takes to get a task completed. Yes. I straight up don't aspire to have that type of work ethic. But whenever I'm met with a task, I think to myself, what is the most efficient way to approach this? And is this how Ricky would tackle it? Efficient is being the key word. Yeah. You, my friend, are a creator of things. It sounds basic coming out of my mouth, but you really know how to gather a thought and make it a tangible object. That's a rare gift. Let it shine for all to see, girl. People like me love to see it, and it gives us motivation. Anyway, I'm very blessed to have you as my sister-in-law and friend. I'm very proud of the way you handled all of the challenges you faced in 2021. You never gave up and stood up for yourself whenever you needed. You actively let go and let God, and I think we could all use a little more letting go in our lives. In 2022, I hope that you continue to let go of what is no longer serving you, that you are living for you and have experiences that fuel your soul. You know that anytime you need peace and quiet, you can always come to my apartment, or we can be in nature to take in the tranquility. You know I'm always down for that. Let's continue on becoming our most authentic selves in 2022 and deliver amazing and inspiring content for all of our listeners on this frequency. Cheers.
How, you're 30?
32.
Okay, so when you were in 7th grade, did you write letters to?
Like a pen pal?
No, not like a pen pal. But
I'm all excited.
wait, did you have a phone in 7th grade?
No. Like a cell phone?
Yeah.
No. I didn't have a cell phone until like 9th or 10th grade.
Okay, so I'm asking about if you wrote letters because
What do you mean? What kind
I'm about
of
to
letters?
age myself ridiculously
Like
right
to
now.
our friends?
Yes.
Yes. I actually had notebooks.
Okay, so when I was in 7th grade or whatever, 7th grade, like you would write a letter on paper and then you would fold it up into a tiny little envelope and not.
Like
I'm gonna post a picture of it of how I'm gonna fold this letter, and then you exchange them. I mean, it was like texting, but in written fucking form.
Paper.
Pen and paper in a little square, folded up, and you exchange letters like that. You wrote that on your computer, but there's a part in the letter when you're like, anyway, your transition with that, it made it feel nostalgic, like I was receiving it in that form, like I used to get them in 7th grade, and I was like, this is such a cool feeling because I haven't felt that in years, like in 1,000 years.
Well, yeah, I didn't want it to be all formal and in fucking MLA format or just properly. It was just anyway, you know. And then I put "Hey girl" in there. It's all right, girl.
No, my favorite part was anyway, because that's how you used to write to each other. Like,
anyway,
it's just so casual, it's so matter of fact. You know?
Yeah, yes, casual.
And it made me miss that.
Well, you can write me letters if you want. I'll accept them.
I do
write them in their little.
I do like writing
arrows
letters
and paper airplanes or whatever it is.
I'm gonna fold my letter to you after I'm done. After I'm done reading it, so you can see what I was talking about. But
I'll email mine to you.
Fold it up in digital form. Yeah. So mine says, "Dearest Natalie, thank you for only making me feel judged one time in my life in our relationship. You've remained a source of hope and have always nurtured a safe space for dialogue. I want nothing more than to have you carefully woven into my life as long as humanly possible. And not just because you've guided me through some rough terrain in my existence, but because you unapologetically continue to encourage me to allow myself to be loved. We've not only survived the last 2 years together, we've really thrived, hands down. We've taken steps to unravel ourselves through this podcast, and we've grown, we've gotten better, and we still have so much work to do. Cheers to you, your spirit, and your tenacity to find your passions and your purpose. When in doubt, please remember the things that I love about you the most. Your creativity, that you're an avid learner, that you've mastered your inner Jay-Z, and that you are your own thinker. Don't fuck this up. Love, Ricky."
I like how you ended "Don't fuck this up" with yours and with my letter.
Because like you said, it's okay if you fuck it up. Yeah. But I always like, don't fuck this up. We're all counting on you. Don't fuck this up. You know, you want to. But I do want to explain the mastering your inner Jay-Z.
Oh, yes, please do. Because I really don't know how to explain that.
So one of the things that and I couldn't figure out if it was like not anytime a problem would arise, it was like not a big deal to you. You would just be, okay, cool. Well, we could just do this, or we could just navigate it like this, or don't worry about it. And I was always like, how is it possible that nothing provokes this woman to have a meltdown when something bad happens? Because that's very much my response. When something doesn't go right, I A, have a meltdown first, then B, go into triage mode. It's hurry up and resolve the problem. Yeah. But the speed that I'm going at dealing with that is just 1,000 miles a minute. And you just like, oh, it's okay, cool. Dusting, or that song, Dust Your Shoulders Off. Is that Dust Your Shoulders Off? So as I got to know you more in depth, I was like, damn, she's always calm like this. Like, she's not moved by anything like super challenging. And that you found there's a confidence in that.
Yeah.
There's a confidence in that where I'm thinking the world's going to end,
Right.
or I'm going to lose relationships with people, or something has just fallen completely apart, and I dramatize, whatever, like that. You fucking don't. And so that gave me a lot of like peace, where it's like, let me panic about it and let you not panic about it, and just taser me into reality where it's like, it's okay. And that by far is one of my favorite things about you, because there's something so calming about that. It's like, fuck.
And the thing is too is that, like you said,
Were you always like that?
oh no, before I would have freaked the fuck out, and I would have been, you know, in, like you said, 1,000 miles a minute trying to resolve and patch things up and make things right. But I think over the years, and I don't know if I get, and I don't know if this is like a control thing too, of wanting to fix things right away and patch it up and make it right, or I don't know what it is. Maybe that's just how we're programmed. But you said something right now about like the world is ending, and then that's my thought is like, well, the world's gonna end anyway, so fuck it, like let this shit fall apart. And I'm not gonna freak out about it, because if I'm freaking out about it, that's not gonna fix the problem or the issue at hand.
When did you master that?
Oh, just recently. I think just with doing my own work and kind of discovering like my triggers and what I should be triggered or not be triggered about. I think that kind of came with it. Like, does this deserve my reaction, like, or the kind of reaction that I'm giving it?
I'm headed in that direction, which is why in the letter to myself I said I'm acknowledging that I've slowed my pace down. That it's like, do I really want to put this much energy into that?
Right.
You know, which is interesting that you bring that up about the world ending. And I asked you when I got in here if you saw the movie Don't Look Up. And we are going to spoiler alert this, but in a nutshell, they discover a meteor that's going to hit planet Earth in 6 months and 15 days to complete extinction. And it's like, and I actually asked my girls, like, what would you do?
Yeah.
Like, how would you want to live your, like,
The next 6 months of your
the
life.
next 6 months of your life, right? And then I thought, Ricky, my initial thought is like, well, how do we stop it?
Right.
Ricky, you're not gonna, there's no way you're gonna stop. You can't possibly, but it'll actually cross my mind that in some way, shape, or form, I could possibly have the way to stop this meteor. No, I can't. You can't.
Right,
So
right.
just like enjoy it. But it did very much make me think about, like, well, what would I do?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that naturally my reaction would be fucking freak the fuck out, like the girl, the scientist. She was fucking crying her eyes out, and then you kind of just, well, you're gonna go fucking make the best of it. She was banging some dude that was just random as hell, and then invited him out to dinner, and that worked out.
But technically, we should live our lives like every day a meteor might hit.
And it might, like,
What are you
we
waiting
might
for?
die tomorrow.
Yeah, what are you waiting for? That meteor might come in the shape of a car accident to your death.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know. I think we think we're invincible sometimes, and that shit like that isn't gonna happen to us. But our time is not long. You know, we gotta take advantage of it, and that's why it's a good thing that we're both headed towards peace and tranquility and mindfulness of like how we're spending our time. You know what I mean?
100%.
So great. I love that. I can't wait to see what other people write to themselves. If they write to somebody else, that would be fucking cool to share too. But let's pivot a little bit. Excuse me. A couple episodes ago, we had shared our screen time and how awful that's been. Ricky, you want to share your screen time while I pull mine up?
Yes. So when I did mine the few episodes ago, it was like an average of 36 hours a week, 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
When we did that, I was very much on my social media, on my emails, on my text messages. I used every part of the phone. Mm-hmm. Since that episode, just like openly talking about it, and then ever since my Instagram got hacked into, when I was going through that whole phase of I don't want to do social media anymore.
Right.
it really just kind of lifted an awareness to the addiction that not only I have with my phone, but the people around me have with their phone, including my children. Like, we've had active conversations about, like, we're going to remove these phones. Like, would we even know how to interact with one another without our stupid phones, right?
Yeah.
So I've made a conscious effort. Now, being in isolation, here's how it messed me up.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I worked my way into that zone of wanting to stay off of social media or wanting to use my phone less. I think that if I would have been on my social media constantly while I was in isolation, I would have lost my shit.
Yeah.
I would have gotten an extreme case of FOMO and just anxiety and, oh my God, poor me, I'm not doing, it would have been bad. But I was glad that I didn't have that desire that much. I wasn't reaching for my phone and looking at anything or posting anything.
Yeah.
I had a wonderful friend of mine, well, she's also my tax lady, and she was just like, she was aware of the series of unfortunate events that I had been experiencing, and she told me, you know what, it's good that you got sick. Yeah. Take the time to be within yourself and, think, right, be with yourself.
Yeah.
And I did that. And so I was getting cabin fever for sure by the 7th day, and I cleaned out my room completely. I painted the entire room. I threw a lot of it's funny the crap that we collect without even knowing that it's collecting.
Yeah.
So that was really good. So in saying that, my screen time was down 38%, but it was still very much 8 hours a day. But let me explain why.
Yeah.
5 hours of that, on average, was Netflix.
Oh, okay.
I run my Netflix off of my phone, and I project it onto my television, or I mirror screen it or whatever. So I have to use my phone because my TV doesn't have Netflix. It's an older TV, so I have to project into that or whatever. So I have this weird... I am obsessed with The Crown.
Oh, yes.
Which we've talked about. And The Crown is like a blanket. It was like a comfort blanket to me. I've seen all seasons of it multiple times. I've now watched every season of The Crown maybe 17 times over. I just had it on repeat. And I kept discovering things that I ended up falling asleep. Like, I was like, I didn't even know that happened. The Queen does cry. I just had it as background while I was cleaning or writing or doing whatever. Yeah. So, for the record, it was 5 hours because of Netflix.
Right.
And then I did average just 3 hours of being on my phone, texting, or on social media, or emails and stuff like that. So, I am proud of myself for that. But I would have been really messed up if I heavily depended on my social media during isolation.
I'm still averaging about 4 hours and 27 minutes on my phone, but it's kind of weird. Like the most used, text messages, and then Instagram, my maps, right? But then you go in and it tells me that last week I spent a total of 7 hours and 40 minutes text messaging with a daily average of an hour and 5 minutes. So I guess that's not bad, right?
No, that's not bad at all. I average about 2 hours and 15 minutes a day on text. That was shocking. I was like, who am I texting? Right. But I do text a lot of people because all of our business stuff, a lot of the correspondence is through text. But I was annoyed by that.
You're like, where does this come from?
But I'm annoyed by texting, but I also don't want to answer phone calls.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't want to answer FaceTimes.
Yeah.
I don't want to do any of that.
Yeah. I hate phone calls. I don't like when people call me. I really don't. It drives me nuts. Like, there should be I would want to remove the phone call app from my phone if that was a thing.
We're going to go back to writing letters.
Yeah, we should do it that way. And then I spent a daily average of 1 hour and 1 minute on social media. Well, on Instagram specifically last week. And that was definitely because I set the limits on my phone. So that actually really helped me a lot. I think that was it the week before? There was a week that I felt like I was on it way too long. But I think this is good.
Hell yeah. I'm like, believe me, there was a time when last week too, where we were trying to finalize a contract and we were emailing each other back and forth. Mm-hmm. And my dumbass decided to put at the end of an email, if you have any questions or you would prefer to do this by phone, feel free to call me. Yeah. And they called me and I'm like, no, why are you calling? Just answer the email. And I'm like, but I can't be mad at them. I'm the dumbass that said, if you want to call me, because this is a lot of questions.
Right.
But I think it's changing how we communicate, but I think we're definitely heading in the right direction. I think so too. And similar to what you said, since we've become more screen time conscious, I've also just been annoyed at social media and everything that's on it. I'm like, damn it, why do people post shit like this? I'm so annoyed. There was last week when I'm like, you bore me, Instagram. What kind of people am I following? I'm throwing my phone. I literally thought, I actually turned my phone off at night now.
Oh, good. That's a good practice.
One morning, I was like, my alarm was going off. Mm-hmm. I was getting text. This is 5:30 in the morning. Mm-hmm. Alarm's going off. Mm-hmm. I'm getting text messages. I'm getting all the alerts, the promotional emails from people, from companies, Twitter, ABC7 telling me who got killed, how, and what. But the thing was I had this moment where I was feeling my phone going off, the vibration of it through my body, and I'm like, this can't be okay. Yeah. No. These notifications can't possibly. They're triggering me every time that the phone goes off. Like, this is not good at all. And all of those components put together really just forced me to, again, think about how we live and how we use our phones and how fucking metaverse, man.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So yeah, fuck that. Fuck all of these phone functionalities and how and it just sucks because we do need them. They're a necessity these days. It's like food, but you know what I mean. But that's okay. We at the end of the day, we are conscious and aware human beings, and we know that there are limits and that we don't have to be on our phone 24 fucking hours a day and even in our sleep. So with that, I think this fucking is a good end to this show, this episode. We wanted to thank our listeners lastly, because without you guys, there would be no one would be on this frequency with us. And so, yeah, thank you guys for listening, for commenting, for, those of you that have written reviews. You guys are amazing. Please encourage all of your other friends and family members to listen and to write reviews for us as well. I think that Ricky and I have a lot of great things coming for 2022 and a lot of things that we want to try out. And we want to be a part of. And so yeah, I think I'm grateful.
Yeah, and thank you to the team around us who have been a huge support system, from Big Brother Jake to Bartley to even my brother Mike, who encouraged us to do this and to you guys should really take this seriously. To our family, who has to kind of be on the wayside when we have to put these things together, and just everyone. It's been a conscious effort, and it's been a beautiful experience.
It has been. I'm excited for more. And I think that I want to end also by acknowledging all of the countries that have listened to us for the last 12 months. I am going to name them one by one. So we'll start with the United States, Canada, Hungary, Mexico, United Kingdom, Germany, Australia, Brazil, Spain, France, the Netherlands, New Zealand, the Philippines, Cyprus, Norway, Turkey, Ukraine, Austria. It's the CW. It doesn't say what's the CW. CW, Greece, Indonesia, India, Iran, Japan, Kyrgyzstan. I hope I said that right. Yes, Kyrgyzstan, Mongolia, Nepal, Puerto Rico, Portugal, Russia, Slovenia,
Oh my God.
Trinidad and Tobago, and there's 15 unknowns.
We talk about this all the time. How the hell are these people how did you guys find us? Please, on this frequency at gmail.com, if you're listening from one of these countries, how did you find our podcast? I want to know, because we don't even practice really marketing or even putting it on social media, which Big Brother JK always tells us you guys got to promote, and we don't do it enough. We just do not do it enough. How the hell 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 34 countries and 15 unidentified? How?
You guys are amazing.
High five, Natalie.
You guys are amazing. We do this. Y'all listening to us every week. It's beautiful, and I hope that we can continue this list into 2022 and hopefully expand it. I'm excited. So thank you all again. And with that, that's a wrap. Increase the peace, y'all.
Bye, everybody.